Alright, hopefully the video doesn't stop at this point. But anytime we have ideas that are so far apart, we tend to have issues with the video. It just clicked, so I think it's going to start getting slower. Um, but the fact of the matter is yesterday I went through a step of connecting EF with these. This was the closing step of one step that I had to do. And I knew it was the next step and who it was because Elaine called at a specific second that I thought I had closed a step. And then I had to add to it. It's EF and then EF123, EF123 RE, EF123 2, 23, 23R, 23 123. You know, it keeps going on and on and on until we get to C. And that's where I had to stop. Anyways, which then led me to an H, which I forgot what the H was. Oh, it was a song, I believe it was. Anyways, fact of the matter is, this video is an explanation of the science part, so that way it can be explained to my sister. She's having a hard time accepting it, and just that this is beyond all our knowledge and our expectations, and this is not being made up. This is being given to us. That sort of. There's been all sorts of different connecting, but they're perfect answers for the time that's right for different people.
Case Graves is here. I need to get because she is this. She so if you can believe, I can do one step to another step to get to C, so that way Sarah and Mick can come together to understand that there's a destiny for her, that we're intertwined and we're all bearing a heavy weight. So here we go. Gustin equation. Fibonacci sequence is inside of pi. And then from that, I had to go on a journey to find the A's. That way I can close with the ratio, which I'll show you in a brief thing. This can everything. And I don't say they'll just click. It's like, how did he know that he had that information? Has he been playing all this good stuff? So, let's begin on the science aspect of it. Basically, we needed to set up a code. We needed to decipher the pi sequence, 3.14, blah, 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 blah. Basically, the rule is I assumed that I knew nothing, so I started with 0. Anytime I didn't have a pattern resulting in the right, I had to drop the number down into the next open slot in that same row. Okay, so vertical row, it had to be locked into there. And then the would be tried. It'll make sense once I show you. And if in a leftward or a rightward pattern, then it stays there and starts the new vertical line. But if it doesn't, then it just drops to the previous vertical building down. Hopefully that made sense. So take pi and you can work it out. And you work it out up to 7, because that's where the Fibonacci sequence actually rotating at that point, and then the next step actually happens. But I couldn't out, and I knew I worked that out until I found my A's, because I had to close everything out and get to this point. So let me show. It may start as soon as I show the code, because it does. But here we are. we've got all this information here. All of it was tied together all the way down. And this is actually at the Chinese food restaurant. But if you break this apart, because what this was saying was T and U genetic code. I had in one of the prior videos, I had CATUG, and separated it. Then you've got a cross, and then you've got your trace, and then are your science and religion together. But this actually means there's a part of a word means. I'm not gonna go over that. Well, yeah, I am. 144 popped up. And then 1,040 popped up. Then anyways, we're down to Casey. Casey keeps popping. I can't write of the image down. It says hour of the code. That's important. There's a line that says hour of the, and that DE. Alright, that's very important because that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the code that I've got here. So like I said, I started at 0. I placed 3 here. Since that makes no sense, I know the numeric value of 0 through 9. Okay, we just assume that. But we've got to find the patterns going to the right. No pattern there. 0, 3 makes sense. I put it down. 0, 1 makes sense. Okay, because that's just one step. Okay, I can justify that. And then I put a 4 there. 4 makes no sense. So I close that. Anyways, I put a 1 up here. To test that, 1, 1. That's a pattern. I can see that. So 0, 1, then we've got 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1. And then the 5 doesn't make sense. 5 goes down. Okay? Then we try the 9. The 9 doesn't make sense. 9 goes down. Okay. 2 makes sense. 1 plus 1 equals 2. Okay. Then we here. 6 doesn't make. Okay. 6. Try the 5 here. 5 doesn't. 5 made sense. Well, since the 5 didn't make sense, here, got it. It's only try 7. 5 made sense. Makes sense here. Now here's since there was an open spot for some reason, I knew that the 7 went there. So I could have placed the 7 down here, which would make it 57, but I don't see it. It just didn't feel right. Mostly because this was the corner point, and that it was, I don't know, that's where it fit. Maybe that's wrong. I'll have to look into that. But it still progressed past that. It didn't make sense. Actually was the point of this whole issue. That's why we know, because it stands out. That's where the Fibonacci sequence stands in. Okay? And then a video that's online, and it just repeats A. And I knew I had to go to the ER. And I had to go to the doctor. There's a whole long string of events that I had to go through. That I had to follow the A's to get there. There was Amy. There was administration. There was arguments. There was Adderall. Adderall was a huge thing. Finally looped around. Add all of my Facebook friends. But here we go. I had to look for the A's. Knew they need to be connected. They proved that Y did to and was station.
My roommate at the psych ward was okay. Why there was really concern about. She was just submissive and what have you. Her name was. She had a very emotional pain. I had talked with her slightly. She said that she had hell in her. Now I know that sounds super crazy, but I knew she was very important in this entire code, so I wrote it down. I additionally, as soon as I wrote down, I said vacation. I'm glad I'm here on vacation. And she goes, my admissions person, she said, that's weird. You think this is a vacation? Because there's a huge point. There was a conflict of interest between the current situation I had and what the reality of it was. So she wrote, and she made a document about it. So no, I knew that the Fibonacci sequence, it also says that n equals 0. And then there's an n, so I knew that they connected. But I couldn't those to bring PHI, which is 1.6. Basic just reverted before. I know it at 3.0. Which the 8 is to 9. So you got the 1 to 1 is the point. That's how I got to that. What it is I drew these arrows in here and I didn't know why. So I'm trying to connect V to L, which was right here, V to L. I'm just trying to prove a point that would not be working. There's a higher power here. I am not coming. This is being fed to me so that way people can understand that they are never going to understand the equation. Until now. We need to build upon this and reconstruct stuff and correct our error. That's what we need to do based on the video called Hour of the Code. Look it up. They talk about programming and
doing a code. I'm too close. Doing a code to do that. Okay? And we'll be lucky if we finish it. So, yeah. Don't be afraid of numbers. Just know that everything you know is wrong. If I placed you in a sandbox with no knowledge, with someone, no instruction manual, no whatsoever, where do the rules come from? Where does all the instructions come from? Some would say the hand of God, which I understand that. I don't understand is the written word, the verbal talks, all this stuff you're telling people what's right and wrong. You have no clue what that's going against yours is right or wrong. Maybe they have to go on this path to get
back to the play box, the sandbox, okay?
You can't judge people when you have no clue what their destiny is. Maybe they're being told that they have to do this, and that's their job. You can't judge people. As soon as they fight what they're being told, then they're not listening to the man upstairs. The sin is in the understanding. The sin is in you, okay? Devil's in the details. You ever heard of that? Devil's in the details. You don't know anything is what you got to accept, but you feel what is right, and you feel what is. Turn that off. You turn off
off. So that's a turn, if you haven't noticed. That's a 90-degree angle. Turn. This was just written down. This is what it's telling, not doing these. This is how it's supposed to be. So I'm sorry. We need to just create a connecting part. Salvation. Everyone. The 4 comes in at K. 140. So connects. I appreciate your time standing, and I hope you share this with everyone. Again, be scared from a good place, and I appreciate your time at speed.